So hello. This is different, right? I mean, I did say, if you've been reading Instagram, I did say this is going to take some out-of-the-box thinking. Welcome to quarantine content with Mr. JWW. On a serious note though, I really hope everyone watching this is healthy and well and looking after each other. Right now, not only is it difficult to go outside, I also think for the majority of instances it's certainly wrong to be out and about filming cars when there's people from our NHS and various other healthcare services around the world literally saving lives right now in order to keep everybody safe. So it's going to take some out-of-the-box thinking in order to bring you guys some much-needed content and entertainment right now. So what I thought I would do, because I get questions asked all the time about what goes on behind the scenes on various different shoots and videos, the logistics involved, the people, etc. I thought I would go through a selection of some of my favourite or some of the best content that I've filmed over the years and provide the stories which have been untold, the stuff that you've never seen and what has led to videos such as that getting so much love. I think this video here, the drive when I went to Ras Al Khaimah to drive a road which has become world famous since then, a road called Jebel Jais. This video is on like 2.5 million views now, and this started as a relatively small project between a friend of mine, Oliver Webb, who we're gonna speak to on Skype shortly to find out how he's quarantining, but also to share his memories of this incredible day. So here's a spot of context. 2016, this was filmed. We were contacted by the Ras Al Khaimah Tourist Board. Now, Ras Al Khaimah, otherwise abbreviated to RAK, R-A-K, is a neighbouring emirate to Dubai. As it happens, not many people have heard of it, despite the fact that its proximity to Dubai is so close. Now, it just so happens that Ras Al Khaimah in 2016, they were emerging, they are developing, they got loads of money, and they are beginning to develop their wonderful country. As part of this, obviously, the tourist board is really important, and they were effectively put in charge of helping to encourage the growth and, importantly, encourage tourists to come to that area of the Middle East. Now, myself and Ollie, we were contacted by these guys. I think it was as simple as an email. They reached out and was like, hey, we love what you guys do. We'd really be interested in bringing you over, and hopefully you can make some content to help highlight what a wonderful place Ras Al Khaimah is. Obviously, we know both myself and Ollie love driving. Ollie's main sort of line of work, as it were, is as a racing driver. And so we both ultimately leapt at the opportunity. Now, at first we were like, I wonder what we're going to do. And what we do is fairly simple. We enjoy sharing great cars, great locations, and the important one, great roads with you. So when we spoke with these guys, the idea was that we said, look, if we can get our hands on some good cars and ideally a really good driving road or a good area to drive, how's that for an idea? That might make some nice content in order to highlight the culture and scenery of your wonderful country. Now, it turns out, a little while before we filmed this, there is a mountain range that conveniently runs through Ras Al Khaimah. Now, the rumour was that at the top of this mountain range, they were going to build one of the world's first 6-star hotels. Now, of course, in order to get to the top of the mountain range to build the hotel, you've got to build the road. So the road was built. Now, let me just set the scene. When I say road, I mean driving nirvana. So the road was imagine this, it's effectively a 3-lane motorway wide alpine pass. Imagine that. So take an alpine road, extend it by 3 lanes, and include all of the incredible switchbacks and undulations and incredible scenery that you could ever dream of. Now, to make it better, the hotel never happened, or at least it didn't happen when we were there. And so this incredible road, which I think stretches for around about 30 miles, it never got finished. The hotel never got built, and so the road doesn't lead to anywhere. So it was very easy for us to involve the local authorities in order to close this road because it went nowhere, it really wasn't a big deal, and ultimately have it to ourselves for an entire day to do absolutely anything we wanted.
Hold on. Oh my God. Oh wow. Ollie, where is he? Come and talk to me about that drive. Come and talk to me.
I feel like
we're still coming down off that.
I feel like we should be arrested.
We should be arrested for that. Honestly, I've had some drives. It's hard to exaggerate enough how that was probably the drive of my life. The drifts this guy was getting. I'm still coming down off that. I feel like I've been on a genuine thrill ride.
It's like the world's longest street track.
Yeah, it really is. All of that is 3 lanes wide. So think of that snaky strip down there as what a motorway would be like in England. It's sort of international race circuit wide.
It cost $80 million to build, and it's purely a driving road because it doesn't lead to anything.
Well, this is it. It goes there, and that's it.
So, we got a professional racing driver, a YouTuber with some half-decent driving skills. What are you gonna do? Well, we collaborated with some friends out there who ran a supercar rental agency actually in Dubai. Those guys provided us the cars. We conveniently had a Mclaren 650 Spider and at the time a brand new Ferrari 488 Spider. These things were fresh off the production line at that time. Now also, our friends from W Motors joined us in the Lykan Hypersport, that car that jumped through several skyscrapers on the Fast and Furious. At that time as well, there wasn't a great deal of content with that car. So we had 488 Spider, 650S, and one of the world's most famous and rarest hypercars to go up this road, which we had locked down for ourselves to create what content we wanted. Now, as this project started to gain traction, we grew somewhat. So we actually had sponsorship on board. We had Uber Eats, we had Red Bull sponsoring us at that time. Obviously, the Ras Al Khaimah tourist board was a massive part of being able to close down that road. We had a hotel chain who had recently launched out there, sponsor our stay, and all of a sudden we had this sort of mini production crew, flew out friends from England. That's how we got these incredible shots. And there we approached this road. Imagine having a mountain to yourself, police to back you up, closing roads, and just all day in the most beautiful sunlight you could possibly imagine to capture content like that. I mean, look at it. Roof down. It was just outstanding. And so, how this played out was we kind of half documented the day and half created what we wanted to create. So these shots where we are, well, that's Ollie there, drifting. Now, what you can't see there, at that time, we were filming with GoPros that were mounted on the back of these cars. I cannot tell you, look at that shot, unreal. Drone team was incredible. Now, I'm not sure if many of you have experience with filming with a GoPro. Generally, the filming angle of them is really quite wide. Now, that's great for capturing scenery and for pointing it pretty much anywhere and getting what you're trying to capture in frame. The problem is it makes everything seem quite far away, so the perspective of your subject feels further away than it actually is. So, from our tracking shots, like this here, we had GoPros on the front and rear of each car, and I am not joking you when I say Ollie was drifting off the car probably by a foot or two at times, 2 feet maximum at times. And then we would swap cameras, put it on the front of the 650. I would get right up the back end of this 488, which at the time was brand new. And we were just drifting around and sliding and filming. Now at this time, we had no idea that this video was going to gain the kind of traction it did. Now here's an interesting insight for you. This project, don't forget, came off the back of the tourist board approaching us to say, would you like to come and make some content to help us highlight our wonderful Emirate state? Yes, we would. We highlighted this road. At that time, that road was basically an unknown place. It didn't lead anywhere, so no one actually went there, no one gave it any exposure. Off the back of this project and having these remarkable partners involved in it to make something as beautiful as that happen, there have been so many car launches which have happened there off the back of the exposure of this. I actually had Alfa Romeo get in touch with me directly to say, thank you for highlighting that road. We are going to do the global launch of the Alfa Stelvio Quadrifoglio there, which I thankfully then ended up getting the invite on. And never at this point, when basically me and a mate are sliding around, that proximity there, I cannot tell you how close I am in order to try and get that shot. But it was just mates on cameras, flying drones, skidding around, sliding, trying to capture it as best as we could to just make something that we thought would visually look fantastic. It turned out to get over 2.5 million views and impacted the car industry more than anyone might have thought. Now, from a tourist board point of view, what you might not think about When a car company decides to launch a car somewhere in a city, in a country, the economical impact that it has on that area is fantastic. So while the original idea was to try and attract a few more tourists, what we ended up doing was bringing thousands of people over the course of the following 2 years as a result of brands doing global car launches there. For example, the Alpha launch was out there for 3 weeks, and they had journalists from every country fly in. They took out 2 hotels, one for journalists, one for staff, and just the amount of economic injection it had off the back of something so simple was outstanding. So not only is this my favorite video because it's one of my favorite driving experiences, I mean, look at Ollie's face there. We will phone Ollie shortly. You can see the lights on my face flashing from the cop cars. Look at the road. Look at it. And it keeps on going on and on and on and on like that. Now, the great thing is, this is perfect timing. The great thing is, we had all 3 lanes to ourselves in both directions. Because it was closed, it was basically a racetrack. I mean, it really was. And in fact, I've driven circuits, proper race circuits, with worse tarmac than this. It was brand new, it was fresh. So, let's jump on the Skype to Ollie and let's pick his brains about what his memories were of this remarkable event.
So here he is. Ollie, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm a bit cooped up, but good. Good to speak.
Yeah. How's quarantine going?
Do you know what? It's actually not too bad because I mean, as annoying as it is for both of us, obviously missing out on some work and racing, etc. It's kind of nice to be forced into a position where, you know, as horrible as the virus is, everyone who is stuck at home is stuck at home together. So we all got a bit of a break out of it, and sun's shining, and I'm in the countryside, so I'm okay.
Brilliant, man. And what's your quarantine strategy so far? I know you've got a simulator, which I'm highly jealous of.
I've got one in here as well in the corner. It's my mini one.
You've got 2 of them. If there was one thing I wished I had right now, it's a simulator.
Oh yeah, and it's unbelievable how quick. I mean, e-gaming was already getting big, but now it's all sorts of invites to these crazy live races.
Desperate times calls for desperate measures. I'm effectively sharing with the audience behind the scenes stories and insights to some of my favorite videos that I filmed over the years, or some of the ones which sort of seem to have gained the most love and attention. One of those being the time that we went to Jebel Jais. I mean, as far as I was aware back then, that road was basically unknown, right?
Yeah, back then it was. I mean, you could still drive halfway up it as the public, but it wasn't advertised as a road, and no soul really knew it was there.
Since the time which we were there, which turned out to be 2016, the amount of road trips I've seen there, car clubs, car launches is crazy. And I think even since then, they've extended it further.
Yeah, exactly. So it's got another 6 kilometers further up from where we went to. And yeah, every single UAE supercar club and even some UK ones that travel out there, everyone under the sun is now using that as a pinnacle point to get to, because it's just like Pikes Peak on steroids, but way smoother and way less dangerous. So great for a road trip.
Do you know, if there was ever a road that was crying out for its own hill climb race, it's that place.
I know it needs to happen.
It needs to happen. Maybe when all this blows over, let's start some kind of vote and get it to happen, because it would be incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, it came about through my old management. So Tim Sylvie and Crown, and they were in touch with someone from Ras Al Khaimah Tourism Authority. And at the time, the idea was just that they were going to be partnering the race team for the Dubai 24 Hours. They wanted to come, see the Mercedes, try and win the race again. And then we were like, oh, well, can we tie it into any cool things like during the week of the race where we can come and visit Ras Al Khaimah so it looks a bit more genuine rather than just a sticker on the car? Can we come and have some fun or play around? They're like, oh, we've actually got this zip line. And then they showed us the picture of the zip line. And I was like, what's that road under that zip line? Zip line's great, but
yeah.
And then like, this road was built to go up to the prince's house, and the prince never built the house, so we've got this like 5-lane
house.
Yeah, so it was meant to be kind of.
I thought it was going to be some 6-star hotel up there.
No, so it was going to be a private road to a private house.
Oh, you kidding me?
Yeah. And then it didn't happen, and they started building their tourism side of it to do the zip line that goes to the top of it instead. And they were like, "Oh, it's quite quiet if you wanna visit it." And then on led the path to, can we, freaking close it? Yeah. And then I was like, who would love to race up this hill with me? I know.
It's so good. Still to this day, we get asked as car guys, lots of stuff is, favorite car, but favorite road, I get asked that a lot, and without exception, that always makes my top 3.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And there's something to be said for kind of tighter, more aesthetic, beautiful roads through Europe, of course. But what's really hard to convey about this road, and even when you see the video that you put up and the video that we made and we put up about the road, is how smooth, wide, and flowing it is, because you can see corner to corner. And even on the hairpins where you can't, it's so wide, and we had the luxury of it being closed. Other than that one person, I still remember coming down. I digress. But yeah, they closed it, didn't they, the night before? The police said they waited at the top and the bottom for 24 hours and before we went there to make sure no one was there. And I remember halfway through our filming, and there was some family in the back of a semi coming down because they'd been camping, hidden around the top of the mountain, and we were sideways.
Completely sideways, like,
exactly.
What are you guys doing? Yeah, now I've just been watching it over and over of you just going sideways in that 488. At that time, that car was brand new, man, like fresh off the line new.
Yeah, it was. It was almost painful to do, and it's one of those things where, like, someone says, no, you can do it, and you kind of have to go, well, I don't really want to ask again, but I should. Are you sure? Like, can I really do? They were like, yeah. It's new to the fleet, but it's going to be rented out. Go for it. So that was it. Straight onto CT off, and it was just amazing, just sideways everywhere. And the great thing is just, it's very rare, when you go on the press drives or any of the hill climbs, everything's quite strategically, safely done, and understandably. But this was completely closed and private. It was literally a playground. It was the weirdest feeling.
It was a bunch of mates and some cameras just having a bit of go.
Yeah, and it turned out amazing. And I think one of the reasons why it did so well obviously the more casual as aesthetically pleasing as obviously your video was, the more casual vlog style video of yours did so much better than the official video, as most things do these days, just because you could really portray, how much fun we were just having. It was just literally, this is behind the scenes, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I think also as well, because we were having so much fun in those 2 cars, we forgot that we casually had a Lykan Hypersport with us, just in tow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember. And that was, and at the time, other than obviously being in Fast and Furious 7, was still a new brand and new car. And the Finnair wasn't out yet, so that was the one, and $3.8 million or whatever it was at the time, or still is, and there's only 6 of them. And obviously it was a really super hot day as well, so we could only use it like limited running at the top of the hill. Yeah. So we were having so much fun in these 2 cars that, you're right, we forgot we had this kind of millions of pounds worth of car behind us.
Just there. Before I phoned you, I was sharing with the audience some of the sort of tips and tricks and techniques that we use behind the scenes to capture what we do. One of the things that sticks in my mind was me tracking you drifting was by sticking a GoPro on the nose of the 650 and then getting quite close to you. Now I was just sharing that GoPros, because they have such a wide angle, you have to get quite close. Just share with these guys so that they don't think I was exaggerating how close I was to your back bumper when you were basically on the lock stops.
Yeah, it's so hard to convey, obviously, with that GoPro footage. But if someone was in the front of your McLaren boot, as some people do, I know Richard Padden and a few people do this when they're shooting cameras. If someone sat in the front of your boot, they would have been able to touch my bumper with their foot. That's how close you were to the back of me, which is so hard to do. With drifting, with the sand, obviously the car's it's a pretty expensive tracking car to have. But you've got to get so close, and GoPros are amazing in everything they do. But when it comes to that, you've always got to be against the other car to get it to look close.
You really have, yeah. And it's a shame because on camera it just looks normal.
Yes.
But, I mean, I wish it looked like this. But it looks so far away.
It must have literally been a couple of feet. Literally, it was so close.
Brilliant, man. Well, look, the chances are I'll probably end up phoning you again over the next few weeks in the UK here, we've kind of officially started our quarantine, 4 days ago now, I think it was? Something like that. So we're fairly fresh into it. I'm not coping too badly right now, but I'm a bit concerned about content in the long run. I don't know how this will work out. So I might sneak around to your house and just jump on the sim at night. With a hazmat to be fun.
Both completely like covered in them.
Yeah. Brilliant, dude. Well, look, thanks for your time for tuning in. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you when this is all blown over.
Yeah, I look forward to some fun events.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, mate. Take care. I'll speak to you soon.
Take care. See ya.
So, what I will stress is the amount of logistics that ends up going into content. So you might end up watching this, I think this video is like 12 minutes, 13 minutes long, something like that. To create that was months of planning. You can't just turn up with a commercial film crew and start closing roads and filming areas. Also, at the top of this mountain range was a military base. So in order to fly a drone, we had to get written permission from the base in order to film with. All of this stuff that happens behind the scenes never basically gets shared with you guys. So yeah, filming permits, camera crew, those guys bought out probably about 4 or 5 crates worth of camera gear. Aviation industry is very strict when it comes to transporting batteries. From a drone point of view and camera point of view, they're big, they're heavy. On the way back, the crew got their batteries confiscated because they couldn't fly with them. And so the list of these things goes on and on. Now, as part of this project, we were also filming areas around about Ras Al Khaimah. This was basically the video that I made for my channel, but there was also some content which was going to go on the social channels of the tourist board. There's some stuff going on Ollie's Instagram. Yeah, so the adventures that go on behind the scenes are equally as fantastic, and I wish I could share more of that. In fact, questions and comments below. 2 major things. Obviously, this is the first of a format video which I hope you enjoy during this time of quarantine. So let me know if you do enjoy it, and let me know if you would like to see more and which videos you would like to give you a behind the scenes insight on. There's, I think, approaching 500 uploads now, so there's plenty to choose from, but let me know if you want to see any sort of behind the scenes insight into videos of the past. I'll gladly sit here all day and talk to you about them. And secondly, when all this is over, would you like to see a little bit more sort of days in the life of? Now, before you jump to a conclusion and go, yeah, that'd be great, there's a lot of admin involved in making these things. I do get the impression that a lot of people think we just turn up and film a car that conveniently happens to be there. The logistics of arranging with a manufacturer to provide their latest supercar in a country that often isn't yours or theirs, to then get a filming permit, often in countries like this, is actually quite long. You know, even though we are creating content sort of every other day, the lead times, I'm often working 3 months, I would say, in advance. But if there is an element of you that is interested in seeing more how we go about arranging this stuff and planning and editing and whatever it is we get up to during the travel and production of these things, let me know, because when all of this clears and we're allowed to venture outside of the house again, I would be interested in sharing it with you if you want to see it. So that's it. Massive thank you to Ollie for tuning in. Not like he's got much else going on right now. I know he's playing around on his simulator. I wish I had a simulator right now. More of that coming soon. Yes, so let me know. Comments below, thumbs up. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. I'm going to try and think outside the box and come up with more stuff to keep you entertained during this time. Stay fit, stay healthy, look after each other. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Ciao.